out of 3 ain't bad at all for these two drivers. Tony Buffomatti won the Trans Am 2 championship a year ago. Guy Robinson, the title holder, in 2015. Now they face off in the rubber match. The two drivers atop the standings with 2 races to go. Can Gar seal the deal, or will Tony pass him at the end? Trans Am 2 racing is next from Circuit of the Americas. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas outside Austin, Texas. Coverage of Trans Am America's Road Racing Series, presented by Pirelli. Today, it's the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to COTA. I'm Rick Benjamin. Glad to have you with us today. NASCAR star Michael McDowell joins me for the call in a moment. Ashley Van Dyke with our coverage today down on pit road. The 2017 season in its final stages now, and the TA2 title is still up for grabs. The 274 Ranch Resort teammates, Gar Robinson, Shane Lewis, still in the title fight. Gar is the points leader. Tony Buffomatti out of Chicago, right there in the hunt as well. Our pole qualifier in TA2 this weekend, a driver who's already won once here at Circuit of the Americas on this racing weekend. Shane Lewis hasn't yet picked up a victory in TA2. This might be the day. He's with Ashley.
Rick, I'm standing by with your TA2 pole sitter, Shane Lewis. Shane, you got a win today already in TA4, an emotional victory in memory of Mel Shaw. You're going to go out here and try to win this TA2 race. How are you going to do it?
You know, just an honor to be driving this Pura Vida number 72 car, this Camaro. You know, I'm really excited about this event. Being on pole in front of with our team, the owners from Texas, the 74 Ranch. I want to win this thing pretty bad. My teammate Gar Robinson, you know, going out for the championship, myself after the West Coast Championship, you know, West Coast here. I'm going to be running this thing pretty hard, I have to tell you. I want to win. I know Gar wants to win, and I think about 25 other guys behind me want it as well, so bring it on.
Shane Lewis could set a record today by winning 2 Trans Am class races in the same day, Rick.
Yeah, Shane Lewis on the verge of hitting the jackpot here at Circuit of the Americas. Michael McDowell, as Adam Andretti decides to hop into the shot as well. There's Rafa Matos. He will start 3rd here today in Trans Am 2. This ought to be a great battle.
Fierce competition. We've seen it all throughout the year, but there's a championship at stake. Gar Robinson's leading it. You can see very lighthearted, having some fun with Shane Lewis, but he's got to get the job done today.
And Tony Buffomatti has to beat Gar Robinson to have a shot at the title. He starts in the 3rd row today. He's with Ashley.
Tony Buffomatti sitting 2nd in the championship standings. He's got 4 wins and 7 podiums this season, about to attack COTA. Tony, talk about your strategy today.
Well, we haven't had the pace all weekend yet for the 72 or the 74, so we're gonna we made a few changes to the car, and we're gonna give it everything we got. We've got to battle. I mean, we've got to win races to have a chance at this thing, and you know, congratulations to those guys. They're having a heck of a year, but the Mike Hope guys don't quit, and that's been our motto all year. So we'll give it everything we got. It's going to be an aggressive one, I'll tell you that.
Tony Buffomatti, well known for being aggressive once the green flag flies. Michael McDowell, this is a fast, tough, challenging 3.4-mile racetrack.
A long racetrack, sweeping corners, elevation changes, deep in the brake zone, 90-degree corners. It's a great opportunity for drivers to be aggressive, make passes. The start's going to be very interesting today. Turn 1 is one of the most challenging part of this circuit.
As we take a look at our track map here at Circuit of the Americas, there you see it's more than a 90-degree left to go downhill.
And once you start downhill, you see it's left, right, through the S's, back and forth. The car gains momentum. Very tricky part of the circuit. Then you get to turn 10, things starting to straighten out. Hard braking down in 11, you'll see a lot of passing happen there.
And of course, uphill from 19 to 20, you want a good run out of that front straightaway as our TA2 field rolls onto the racetrack here at Circuit of the Americas. Starting lineup top of your screen. Keep up with your favorite drivers all day long here as we bring you coverage of Trans Am, the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge for TA2 machines. Two-time series champ Cameron Lawrence has to start at the rear today in his Class Auto Chevrolet, renumbered 79. He'll have his work cut out for him from 28th on the grid.
Cameron Lawrence not having the year that he hoped to have with the new team. We've seen speed out of him. They haven't been able to have the success that they want, and starting in the back today is going to make it a challenge.
Now Lawrence will line up alongside Bruce Nesbitt in the Ford, the 50 car out of Chicago. That's the Braco-Beater Ford. Bruce, a veteran Trans Am competitor. The 274 Ranch Resort Chevrolets of former champion Gar Robinson, the current points leader, and in one of the challengers, Shane Lewis in the 72. They'll be our front row. Rafa Matos in the 88 for Doug Peterson's three-dimensional services group team. And then Thomas Merrill from Spreckles, California. That's that white Mustang back there, the 81 car. The Big Deal Motorsports entry. They've done a great job. He's one of the Trans Am West competitors in the field. We've got Shane Lewis, who has run for the Napoleons in Trans Am West this year. He's the TA2 championship leader in the West Series. So a lot of different storylines here. There's Tony Buffamati in the Best Line Lubricants Ford out of the Mike Cope stables. He has an opportunity to win back-to-back Trans Am titles.
He's got to have a big weekend here, though. No mistakes. He's got to finish ahead of Gar Robertson. We saw earlier in the show, Gar's got a pretty big lead, but that lead can shrink. We got 2 races left. Tony Buffamati has to finish in front of Gar Robinson, and I think he needs the win.
There's Merrill in that white 81, the BMW Performance Driving School safety car, wheeled by Jake Dallenbach onto pit road, field out of turn 20, headed toward the green. Final telecast of the season for us here on CBS Sports Network. Looking forward to a great show in TA2. We're glad to have you with us. Green flag is in the air. Buffamati swings on a line. He wants to make an inside move on Matos as they head toward 1.
3 wide, bumping and banging, showing them a little bit of muscle as they head up into turn 1.
The 97 car back there, one of our point contenders here in that machine. That's the driver out of New Hampshire, Tom Sheehan. Meantime, Robinson grabs the lead out of turn 1.
Tony Buffamati, a brilliant start right there, already up into the 3rd position. This is what he needs to do. He's got to keep the pressure on Gar Robinson. He's got to stay right there with him, and that is the start he needed.
Adam Andretti got a great start as well in the ECC 44 car. Lined up 7th, he's gone to 5th here in the first couple of corners. It's Robinson and Lewis running 1-2.
And this is a tough battle for the teammates here. 2 different agendas. Shane Lewis trying to wrap up the West Coast Championship, and he wants a race win in front of the hometown crowd. But you got Gar Robinson, big points lead. He needs to make sure he scores. If he scores a win today, that'll seal the deal going into Daytona.
Rafa Matos in the three-dimensional 88 car. Big inside move, gets in front of the 77 of Jason Hart. He's a local driver from Flower Mound, Texas, in one of the Stevens Miller Motorsports Dodges here. That team has been to victory lane at Road America this season. Big battle for 4th back there behind Adam Andretti.
You see Adam Andretti running the defensive line, but Hart puts it 3 wide on the inside.
Dive bomb move there. He gets on. He takes out Buffamati. Hart in the 77 gets into Buffamati's 34 car. Both cars have spun. That may well bring out at least a local yellow, if not a full course caution. Jason Hart in the Speedlogics Dodge with some heavy contact.
This is exactly what Tony Buffamati did not want to have happen. He needed a great day to stay in this fight. Not only did he get spun there, but that was heavy, heavy contact. I'd be very surprised if there isn't suspension damage.
Heavy damage to both those cars, it appears. Hart will go off course. Peels a tire off a rim in the 77. Here's another look. That always dangerous dive bomb into the left-hander.
Everything happens so quick. That gap gets tighter and tighter as you get closer to the corner. Hart made a beautiful pass, went 3 wide on the inside, but just carried way too much speed, lost control, and smacked right into Buffamati.
Buffamati's on board. There you see the impact. The 97 of Sheehan going around as well. Tony Buffamati, the car stalling there, and he peeled the tire off that rim. So Buffamati dead stick out on the far portion of the racetrack. Matos, meantime, in the 88 ahead of Andretti, and the 81 car, the West Coast Invader in the 81, Thomas Merrill from California.
A great 3-way battle. Matos has been one of those guys that we've seen with a lot of speed, but we haven't seen him get to victory lane yet. I'm very surprised by that. He's a veteran race car driver, open wheel sports car, 24-hour Daytona. He hasn't quite come to grips with what he needs to do to close the deal yet.
These TA2 cars don't have nearly as much technology by design as a prototype or an Indy car or that sort of thing. They're very fast, though. Adam Andretti on the 44, showing good pace here in the early going. Right up behind Matos as they battle it out for 3rd.
And you can see this long straightaway. You can get a draft in these cars, get a run, and head back into the brake zone, but you got to be careful. We saw a lot of contact just 1 lap ago.
Robinson in the 74, his teammate Lewis in the 72. They're loving this. They're looking in the mirror saying, thanks, boys, we will take off.
And for sure, that team is letting Gar Robinson know that his main title contender is out of the race, or at least with some damage at this point.
Matt Parent of the 14, one of the other Mike Cope Fords, he's gone around as well on the backside of the racetrack. So Parent off the pace. He'll have to gather that car back up and try to get back in line here. Meantime, Gar Robinson with Shane Lewis right on his deck lid. And there is Tony Buffomatti out of things today at Circuit of the Americas, the Best Line Lubricants Ford pilot out of Chicago, Illinois. 4 victories this season. There's his team owner, Mike Cope, and that's one of the Stevens Miller Motorsports guys. There's Joe Stevens as well with Trans Am officials. Mike Cope not at all happy that his driver Buffomatti has seen his championship hopes go away with that contact.
And you can understand the frustration. So much hard work has gone into not just one race, but a championship. Buffomatti winning 4 races already. He needed to have a great run today. His team's obviously upset.
So Gar Robinson in great shape to clinch a title possibly at his home racetrack.
The Trans Am Racing Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by 3-Dimensional Services Group, Prototype, Production, Proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Chevrolet Performance, fueling the passion of automotive enthusiasts with vehicle-specific performance parts, crate engines, and transmissions that are designed, engineered, tested, and backed.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge. He's Michael McDowell. I'm Rick Benjamin. Watching Cameron Lawrence, who had to line up 28th here today. Didn't post a qualifying time in the Class Auto Chevrolet. He's passed 12 cars in the first few laps.
Doing a great job. Passed so many cars there early on in this race. Very long track, very spread out. If he doesn't get a caution, it might be a challenge for him to get back in the top 5. But very rarely do we see a green to checkered race in TA2. These guys battle hard and fierce. If he gets a caution, he'll have a great opportunity to maybe score top 5.
Cameron's car renumbered from 19 to 79. Ray Naveau's team, Ray driving as well. Cameron Lawrence, a 2-time TA2 champion, has a Trans Am victory this season up at Brainerd, driving one of Jim Durhock's machines. Meantime, the fight for third, Rafa Matos in the 3-dimensional Chevrolet, and the ECC Camaro, the 44 with Adam Andretti on board. Those two nose to tail. Adam Andretti always aggressive, hasn't quite been able to find room yet to get up alongside Matos.
Andretti's one of the favorite guys for me to watch. One thing is, he always goes for it. You never leave any doubt that he's not 100% all the time, sliding the car around. He's a lot of fun to watch, but hasn't had the success that he wants in Trans Am either. I mean, we've seen him up front, we've seen him lead races, be on the pole, but putting a solid race together from start to finish has been the problem.
And there's Thomas Merrill in that big deal Ford Mustang out of the West Coast Series from Spreckles, California. Talked to his crew earlier in the day. This is a brand new car. They've only run it a couple of times. Merrill, very impressive here, qualifying toward the sharp end of the grid, running a solid 5th here in the first few laps. And you can do that in TA2 as we watch the 88 car and the 44, and then the 74 Ranch Resort guys up front. Top 5 run for Merrill. That's 3 guys in an open trailer with that race car.
And that's amazing to do, especially with the competition in TA2. These guys have been at it all year long. They're up to speed. Their teams are top notch. Come here with a brand new car. There's not even any decals on that car, and to run in the top 5, he's doing a great job.
A little further back in 6th, Chris Cook in the 21 from the West Coast. The Shockwave suspension seating Chevrolet, part of a 2-car team. They've run Trans Am West. Chris, a guy you know well, driver, coach. He's running the Cup Series. Lots of good experience. As we watch Cameron Lawrence pass another couple of cars on his way to the front.
And you can see he's being very aggressive, Cameron Lawrence. He's not wasting any time. As soon as he gets there, he's making a move, and he knows that he cannot let those leaders get too far out.
Lawrence making short work of the Napoleon 90 car, and John Atwell from Texas in the 02, the A&J Lab machine. Hop on board here with Atwell. Done a nice job this year, his rookie season with that 02 car. Been very competitive at a lot of the places we've been this year. And this his home racetrack as well, out of Azle, Texas.
And you can see how hard he's working, the wheel moving back and forth, up and down through the gearbox. That's a great shot, looking into the eyes of the driver.
Adam Andretti in the 44, still working on Rafa Matos in the 88 car. The 81 right back there as well in 5th position. The 81 of Merrill, qualified in 4th spot. These TA2 cars, everyone says, Michael McDowell, they're so much fun to drive. With the Pirelli Racing radials on the car, they handle pretty well, but they're nose-heavy cars. They make a lot of power. It's basically a late model stock car chassis you're working with.
And it's fun to watch. You can see those cars slide around. Pirelli's done a great job with this radial tire. You remember just a short year ago, these cars were on bias-ply tires, and Pirelli has done a tremendous job giving those cars the feel, the look, and the reliability that they had last year, and have improved it.
Matos in the 88 came very close to winning earlier this season. Has not run the entire season for Doug Peterson's team, but since mid-year, they've been there every week, and he's done a terrific job. All of this competition back a little further in the field. The 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolets of point leader Gar Robinson. Shane Lewis, who won the TA4 race earlier, he's right there in second spot, gunning for a West Coast title. As Matos bobbles in the 88, he may have a tire down.
It looks like he has a tire going down. That car was sliding around so much, and it looked a little bit rolled over. I think he's got a left rear tire going flat.
Matos off the pace and off the gas here. He'll see if he can get that car around to pit road to the attention of the three-dimensional services group crew. As Merrill in the 81 has gotten by as well. So far, Matos has only given up a couple of spots, but that may not hold for very long here. We'll see. Tough thing to happen, and in road course racing, as you well know, Michael McDowell, if you have a problem on the backside of one of these long tracks, it can be forever until you get back to pit road.
Unfortunately for Rafa, that's exactly what happened. Turn 3 started to go down. He's got a long way to get around this 20-turn course. 3.41 miles, that's hard to do on a flat tire.
As we watch the 97 of Tom Sheehan with problems as well, the LTK Insulation Chevrolet. He's been a top 10 points runner all season out of Bow, New Hampshire. And a problem for the 97, it appears. Jamie Obi, his crew chief, waiting for him on pit road. And again, all of this helping out the 74 Ranch Resort team. Robinson hoping to pick up another victory here today, cement his championship. Shane Lewis hoping to lock up the TA2 West title here today, trying to maybe steal a victory from his teammate.
I don't think we're going to see a lot out of Shane Lewis until we get into the later stages of this race. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he has to do. I think he's completely content riding right there behind Gar Robinson until we get into the closing laps.
Matos in the 88, you can see that left rear down, starting to come apart now.
And this is a real challenge for a driver. You want to get back to pit lane. You don't want to lose a lot of time, but you know that you're potentially doing bodywork damage, suspension damage. As he gets to pit road here, if he can get it back to his crew, get a tire on that, maybe catch a late race caution and be back in the fight.
Matos has avoided losing a lap here at Circuit of the Americas. That's no mean feat. It is hard to keep a car straight when you've got one wheel, basically no tire on that left rear.
It's like trying to sit in a three-legged chair. It's almost impossible. The brakes don't want to work. The tires are locking up. Very challenging to do.
Three-dimensional services group crew up on the wall with a tire. Now these teams, you do not make a pit stop normally in TA2 competition. If you have to, it can be devastating to your chances. We'll see if Matos can bounce back. Robinson, Lewis, and Andretti, your top 3 at COTA. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. Coverage of Trans Am 2, Trans Am America's Road Racing Series, presented by Pirelli. Keith Proshak, who's a top 10 points runner this season, one of the Mike Cope cars. This is Chevrolet. They've got an upper control arm problem, it looks like.
And I cannot believe the team is getting after it, trying to get another upper A-frame on there. It's hard to do in one of these races, but they just want to make laps, get their driver some time out there. A great race course, and it's awesome to have a team that's got your back like that, that's willing to go to war.
Good battle here between the Napoleons. Joe the dad, Justin the son, the 90 and the 91, the 31 of Elias Anderson in that Ford Mustang. The Napoleons were TA2 regulars for a couple of seasons. They moved to the TA2 West Series this year. Joe Napoleon doing a nice job in that Turnkey Industries 91 car.
And it's fun to watch this father-son battle. These guys are fierce competitors. They go at it hard. They don't cut each other any slack. And if I remember, a few years back, they might have had some wheel-to-wheel contact.
Yeah, there's been some contact between the Napoleons, father and son, as they battle it out here. TA2 regulars a few years back in the TA2 West Series here in 2017. Great to have them with us here at their home track at Circuit of the Americas. We're going to take you inside the paddock, though, meet the Napoleons and learn more about their business. They race together, they work together. Always a challenging environment.
It's a dream come true, you know, something I've always wanted to do my whole life, and then to do it right beside my old man is really a dream come true. It's awesome. We grow with each other, progress off each other. It's amazing. We have 2 totally different driving styles, but we're always so close in competition, so it's cool.
This is what we do. This is a heartfelt passion, and really replicates what we do at our company. You know, motorsports is all about how you run your business. I mean, you got to get up in the morning, you got to be focused, you got to be ready to be wherever, whenever, and have the parts, the thought process to drive. And those are the basic ingredients it takes to run a company. And, you know, I see him really rocking those ingredients, and so I just keep feeding the fire, you know.
We had our out there in Lime Rock. We took each other out. I think that got out of the system, you know, ever since then it's been smooth sailing, so. We still don't agree with what happened that day.
Yeah, it was still his fault.
I think the competition altogether stepped up. I think it brings a lot of grassroots drivers into the mix. They're able to come in and compete at a level. AEM has done a really good job of evening the playing field. And I think it's a really great series. It's got a lot of progression to go.
They're really getting dialed in. They're working hard on their marketing. They've got really some good people behind them now. And it really gives you a good feel to, you know, make your investment with the Trans Am organization.
Inside the Paddock, presented by AEM Infinity. They present TA2 action for you week in and week out here in Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series. The Napoleons, just a cool story. Turnkey Industries, they provide transportation solutions with semis, basically with trucks of all descriptions, not just for race teams, but for all kinds of businesses. It was cool to get a chance to talk with them earlier in the weekend. They're still in the mix here in the thick of this fight for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th right now.
The best part of that interview is when the dad said, yeah, it was still his fault. I mean, how cool is that? To ride home after a fierce battle, that's just a great, great spot that we got to capture right there.
Let's get an update on Tony Buffamonti's situation. Here's Ashley.
We've just caught up with Travis Cope, who's been hard at work on Keith Prochuk's car, to find out what happened on lap 1 with Tony Buffamonti.
Yes, ma'am. I guess on the first lap, he went down the corner on the backside of the stadium section, and the Dodge, I believe it's a 77 car, came from a couple car lengths back and run into us. Tore the rear end out of the car, left hers flat. Can't even get the car back to pit road so we can work on it. It's been such a up and down year, but we still sitting second in the points, and we had an opportunity to capitalize on this, and because of that, we can't do it, unfortunately.
And as Travis indicates, Rick, Gar Robinson is your champion, as Tony would have had to finish in front of Gar today to have a shot at the championship.
Yeah, disappointing certainly for Tony Buffamonti, who had a terrific summer, won a couple of races in a row, 4 overall, but Guy Robinson's been more consistent this season.
Gar has showed that just get it home, top 2, top 3 with some wins. He's always right near the front, and that's what you have to do to win a championship.
Guy Robinson, the champion in his rookie year, 2015. He will earn his second title in 3 seasons here in 2017.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Speedcom Communications. For 20 years, the world leader in motorsports radio and communications systems.
Back at Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, with Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin, Ashley Van Dyke on pit road. This is a fight for 10th through 15th spot, and it's been a dandy. That's Joe Napoleon in the 91. He just elbowed Brad McAllister in the 24 car from behind, and McAllister stays right with it. Now, that's one of the Mike Cope cars. Dylan McIvern had run that car pretty much all season. Joe Napoleon right there in the 91 car. He and McAllister going at it for 10th spot. What a battle that is.
It's a fierce battle, over, under, back and forth. These guys have been leaning on each other, putting a bumper. Great battle, and they're still side by side.
Elias Anderson in the 31, one of his best runs of the year, right there in the mix as well. McAllister now on the outside looking in as they come up the front straightaway.
McAllister in 4 corners has lost 3 spots, potentially 4. That's how much battling's been going on. He's not out of the fight here as we 3 wide. Oh!
Doug Peterson in the inside spot there in the 3-dimensional Services Chevrolet, the 87, the 2-time Trans Am champion. Doug Peterson making a move to get by those cars. That's Justin Napoleon back there in the 90, the blue Turnkey Industries car. The 24 with McAllister, and the 92 of Roberto Sabato out of Toronto, rookie contender this year. What a great fight this has been.
They finally get single file here. Lost a little bit of gap there, but let's see if they can close the ground. Fierce battling for over a half a lap, side by side, and they're still side by side.
These 3 now for 13th spot. McAllister needs a break if he's going to give Shane Lewis a run for the championship, the TA West title in TA2 this year. A little further back, what about Cameron Lawrence getting by Keith Prochuk? Great job by the Mike Cope Racing team to get the 9 car back on the track after a broken right upper control arm. As we watch Cameron Lawrence lay down some fast laps, up to 6th now after starting 29th. The Cope team has certainly had a difficult day. Their championship hopeful, Tony Buffamonte, being taken out in a lap 1 incident. One of the Stevens Miller Dodges got into him. Here's Ashley.
We've caught up with Joe Stevens to find out about an incident that happened earlier in the race on lap 1 with Jason Hart.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to speak with Jason briefly. Communications limited due to the size of the track. But it sounds like he locked up and may have spun and contacted Tony Buffamonte. The entire team is absolutely gutted to be involved in an incident like that. Of course, it's not intentional. We respect Tony Buffamonte quite a lot. It's a shame, but I absolutely keep faith in Jason Hart as a competitor, and it's just one of the races.
It's an unfortunate thing to happen for Jason Hart, but Peter Kloot is out there trying to make a good run up into the top 5.
And it's so hard to be in that position from a team standpoint. The last thing you want to do is be in the championship conversation. Obviously a racing incident, nothing intentional, and an apology right there. You can see it was sincere.
And a rough day for Mike Cope Racing, getting even rougher. One of their drivers, Matt Parent, exiting the race as well. He had spun earlier in the 14 car. Just got a glimpse of him leaving the racetrack, going behind the Armco to get out of the way of the remaining competitors. Time remaining, top of your screen, along with our running order, as we watch Guy Robinson earning his 2nd TA2 title in 3 seasons, leading the race all the way so far in the 74. His teammate Shane Lewis trying to make it a sweep for the 74 Ranch Resort guys, a 1-2 finish, and a TA2 West championship, although not in this car. Shane has driven for the Napoleons, the Turnkey Industries bunch, in TA2 West this year, but running his regular ride, this will count for TA2 West points as well for Shane Lewis. Scott Robinson, though, on his way to a championship here today. Before the start, I had a chance to sit down with Gar and his well-known racing dad, George.
Racing is a great family sport. I mean, you look at soccer or something like that, the parents drop them off with a coach. Not in racing. Every family I know out in racing has got a bond that's different than any other family. Back when they're running quarter midgets, it was 2 weeks at a time, sleeping in, Holiday Inns with 3 or 4 of them, on cots and everything like that. But it's the best thing. I mean, it's more fun to be with your kids in that way than anything else in the world.
When I was growing up, he was always doing the 24 Hours of Daytona and all the big endurance races and stuff. And that's always been the big goals of my crew guys at the shop are have helped raise me just as much as my dad has, being a proper race car driver, and it just makes my career so much more valuable to come back into the pits after a win and see all those guys just as excited as I am at the moment.
The communication between engineer and driver is a whole lot different when they raise them. It's a whole lot different.
We win together, we lose together, and we have fun together, and there's nothing like it.
5 wins so far this season for Guy Robinson in 12 starts. On his way, it appears, to his 6th victory of the year. What a way to cap off a championship season.
It's been a great year for him, and to go out the champion, nothing would make it better than being the winner of this race as well.
Back with more, the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge. They were beautiful race cars, classic Trans Am machinery. A tribute car to the Sunoco Camaro. That's a Roy Woods Javelin from back in the day, actually raced by George Fulmer, one of the legendary heroes of Trans Am. In the early days, those cars here, because it's an SVRA weekend as well. The Sports Car Vintage Racing Association bringing hundreds of competitors and classic cars here to Circuit of the Americas. We're on the verge of watching a classic performance in TA2 by Gar Robinson, now a 2-time champion. And how about Adam Andretti, who's had his struggles this year? Speaking of vintage cars and tributes, that's a tribute paint scheme to Bob Tullius in Group 44. If you remember that part of road racing history, Adam up to 3rd in the ECC Chevrolet.
And Adam's actually closing the gap on the leader. Slowly but surely, he's been reeling the top 2 in. Not sure if there's enough time for him to get to the bumper there, but he is pushing hard.
And the 79 of Cameron Lawrence trying to race his way to the front here today as well. Lawrence up into 6th earlier, has made a couple of additional passes. He sits 4th as the laps wind down here at Circuit of the Americas. He has struggled with that team. Brand new race team. They got started late last year. Ray Naveau owns the team, the Class Auto Chevrolets out of the West Coast. Cameron has given that car a great ride several times this year, but they've kind of had their issues either in qualifying or practice. They've had problems to overcome almost every week.
And not lacking of speed. We can see Cameron Lawrence here. He's running great competitive laps. He's closed in the gap, but unfortunately for him, he hasn't had that caution we talked about. One caution would put him back in this race.
Late in the afternoon here at Circuit of the Americas, the sun going down. You can tell the shadows are starting to lengthen here at COTA. Lawrence trying to hope for a break in the remaining laps, maybe a late race caution to bunch him up for one more restart, but right now running all by himself in that 79 car. Drove one of Jim Durhag's Trans Am Corvettes a couple of times earlier this year, won at Brainerd in the car, hasn't yet picked up a TA2 victory in the category where he is a two-time champion. Terrific young racer out of Florida. Pretty car as well. The TA2 field in 2018 should be tremendous. Some new cars, new teams coming on board. Efforts by Trans Am, the Trans Am Race Company, to continue to work on leveling the playing field in TA2. This is where a lot of the action is in Trans Am racing.
A lot of excitement. Like you said, all the manufacturers, very close, very competitive. Trans Am's done a great job. Pirelli's done a great job. This series has so much side-by-side, beating and banging, rubbing, and racing for the lead near the closing stages of the race. There's a lot of potential here and a lot of great drivers.
Love the diversity of the competitors, as you mentioned. Gar Robinson, a young gun. Shane Lewis, a young guy, but he's been doing this at a very high level for a long time. They continue to run 1-2 in the late stages. Third place car driven by Adam Andretti, part of the incredible Andretti racing history and legacy. You've got young drivers like Justin Napoleon on their way up in this sport. Doug Peterson is a two-time Trans Am champion, and the great Rafa Matos, his teammate now as we get on board here with Lewis, who's about to clinch, it appears, the TA2 West title.
And Shane Lewis is doing exactly what I thought he would. Keep Gar Robinson close enough that he can get to the late stages of this race, maybe make a move. He knows there's a lot on the line, but I'm sure his team has said, hey, Shane, Gar's already wrapped up that championship. It's time to go for it.
30 minutes, 31 minutes of racing to go here on the timed event at Circuit of the Americas. We run 100 miles or 75 minutes, whichever comes first. Don't think we'll have any problems here today, except possibly with the lateness of the schedule here. Now, the sun going down here in Austin, Texas, it's possible we'll run out of daylight before we get the full 100 miles in today. We'll see how that plays out as we get into the late stages. Adam Andretti letting it all hang out, trying to get close to the top two.
He's closing the gap. Every lap, he's cutting into that lead. He just might get there.
Take a look back at the other Speed Logics Dodge, the 12 of Peter Kloot. John Atwell out of Texas in the 02 car. Good battle for position here. This is for 8th and 9th.
And you saw going into that brake zone how much they're using. Those rotors were actually glowing. As the night comes in, you can see those rotors glow, and those guys are using all the brakes they can get.
No lights here at Circuit of the Americas, no headlights on these race cars, so it could become an issue as we get into the late stages of the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge at Circuit of the Americas. Fighting for position, Robinson, Lewis, and Andretti are top three. Lawrence is fourth. Thomas Merrill in that white 81 car. Great job for that TA West competitor. Doing a nice job running in the top five, but this battle for 8th and 9th still hot and heavy. Here comes Atwell to the inside. Kloot able to turn down, no contact this time.
Late in the brakes.
Oh, trouble for the race leader. Gar Robinson pulls off at turn 20. What's going on there?
You see a lot of smoke coming out of that cockpit, and notice the smoke, it's very dark, black smoke. It looks like he has electrical fire underneath the dash.
Gar Robinson getting the wheel off, the belt's unhooked, unplugs the radio and pops out of the window. Safety crew making their way to the runoff area outside turn 20. This is at the head of the straightaway, the head of the front stretch. Caution waving in that area. Take a look here from the onboard. Everything okay here, and all of a sudden a puff of smoke.
And you can see the smoke, you can see the flames underneath the dash. And for a driver's standpoint, I've had electrical fire. You know exactly what it is, the smell of it, and it's very toxic. You gotta get out of there fast.
Gar Robinson going to retrieve a fire bottle from the corner workers. He gets that fire hose up under the left front wheel there. Wants to wash that thing down, try to put that fire out. Trans Am has one more race to run this year, the season finale at Daytona in just a week's time.
And you remember, these guys, they don't have multiple cars like we have in NASCAR. They don't have a backup sitting there. This is his primary race car. Got to take care of it, and any damage that he can prevent is going to be very, very beneficial going to Daytona.
Speaking of beneficial, the beneficiary of all that is Shane Lewis, Robinson's teammate. He inherits the lead in the Pura Vida Tequila 74 Range Resort Chevrolet, the 72 car. Shane perhaps about to cash in and win 2 races in one weekend here at Circuit of the Americas. It would be his first TA2 win of 2017. The first season for Pirelli to be the official tire supplier of Trans Am across all 4 categories. How about that? 63 race and qualifying records so far through 11 race weekends set by these cars running on Pirelli racing radials. It's been a phenomenal first year for this new partnership, Trans Am and Pirelli. Glad to have Pirelli as the presenting sponsor of the Trans Am Series. For third spot, Cameron Lawrence under attack here by Chris Cook.
Now this might be a new name for some of our viewers, Chris Cook. I am not surprised to see him up there at all. A great race car driver. He's been a mentor and a coach to a lot of young guys coming up through the sports car ranks. He's one of those guys that you haven't heard a lot about, but very talented.
Been running the TA West Series this year in Trans Am 2. Chris Cook always a guy to keep your eye on in a competitive race car. Rafa Matos, meantime, racing his way back to 11th, getting by the 2 Turnkey Industries cars. Joe and Justin Napoleon, the 90 car, getting sideways. Justin giving up a spot to his dad there.
Battling hard, got back to the gas, a little bit too aggressive, rear tires into the race, sliding around. You can see these guys getting everything they can. And Matos has done a great job without a caution to get all the way back up. He's running very competitive lap times. He would have been a contender today without that flat tire, same as Cameron Lawrence. But unfortunately for those guys, getting far back in the field, not able to contend for a win, but still a stellar drive for him today.
Absolutely the case, and this is one of those places, 3.4 miles, 20 turns. If you get shuffled back without a caution, you can be way faster than a lot of other cars. It's still hard to get back into contention.
You're talking about a 20 or 30 second deficit. That's hard to make up on these long circuits. But those guys today have shown a lot of speed, and that gives you a lot of confidence going into Daytona.
Speaking of speed, Shane Lewis in the 72 car for the 74 Range Resort team. Out in front, pretty much unchallenged right now. Adam Andretti, Cameron Lawrence back there. A couple of guys who are capable of winning. But Shane Lewis, a guy very capable of winning as well, has a victory earlier this weekend, driving in TA4 as a one-off, one of the Pesic Fords that he took to victory lane, honoring the late Mel Shaw, one of our longtime friends and competitors in Trans Am, and a car carrying Mel's number 22. Shane also in line here to win the TA2 West Championship today if he can close the deal. There's the 92, Roberto Sabato's machine out of Canada. Shane all by himself in that 72 car. And we're hearing from Trans Am officials, this one will be checkered early, probably 5 laps early. It is very late in the day here, no lights at Circuit of the Americas. The sun is down. You can see there's a little bit of gloaming left here, but it's getting harder and harder for drivers to see the racetrack. So we will checker this one in a couple of laps here at Circuit of the Americas. Shane Lewis with a substantial lead. Running order top of your screen here. Lewis, Andretti, Cameron Lawrence more than 30 seconds back. He and Chris Cook with a good fight going on for third spot. All Shane Lewis needs to do is keep it between the painted lines.
Not only has he got to keep it between the painted lines, but he is stretching out that lead to Adam Andretti. We saw Adam kind of close towards Gar and Shane, but now that Shane's got to the front, clean sailing, he is taking off.
Shane Lewis has a host of podiums this season. He has not yet been to victory lane in TA2 competition. Trying to win here as the white flag waves over the 72 car. Not much more than 3 miles of racing left for Shane Lewis to close the deal. Adam Andretti running second in the ECC 44, having to deal with some slower traffic, some lap traffic up into turn 1. He's been very smooth here today. Look at that right front brake rotor, though.
He's had a clean day, uneventful, not like an Adam Andretti typical race. Normally see some bumping and banging, some excitement, sliding the car. He's done a great job putting in a steady race, and that's really what he needed. Get some confidence, get some momentum back, and that's important for a driver and a team.
As you head into the offseason, coming from 7th to 2nd would certainly be a great day. Speaking of that, how about Cameron Lawrence? Had to line up at the back of the field, didn't post a qualifying time in the 79. He has driven his way through the pack up to third spot here on the final lap.
He won't have a victory to show for it, but this is a drive of his life. Cameron Lawrence has been putting qualifier laps in every single lap this entire race. Cut into that lead a good chunk, just not going to be enough today.
Shane Lewis has won a lot of races around the world and a lot of different types of road racing machinery. No matter how many races you've won, Michael McDowell, on the last lap when you're out in front, you hear all kinds of things in that car, don't you?
You do. You start hearing gremlins, you hear things vibrating, and you know, it's tough as a driver when you have that big of a lead because it's easy to lose your concentration, and that's what you got to avoid. You got to stay focused, keep calm. He's only got a few feet here to go, and he gets his first victory of the year.
Shane Lewis, under the checkered flag at Circuit of the Americas, picks up the TA2 victory today at COTA, winner of the Trans-American Muscle Car Challenge. What a weekend for Shane Lewis. 2 wins in 2 different categories. Adam Andretti will cross the line in 2nd spot in the 44 car, by far his best outing of the year, and the 2-time series champion with his new team this season. Cameron Lawrence out of Windermere, Florida, takes the checkered flag in 3rd spot in the 79 car for Ray Neveau's Class Auto team. So Shane Lewis puts a victory up on the board. He's had a host of podiums this season in support of his championship-winning teammate Guy Robinson. He earns the victory at Circuit of the Americas. We'll come back and talk to the winner in just a moment.
The Trans Am Racing Series on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by 3-Dimensional Services Group, Prototype, Production, Proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Chevrolet Performance, fueling the passion of automotive enthusiasts with vehicle-specific performance parts, crate engines, and transmissions that are designed, engineered, tested, and backed.
Shane Lewis just stepping out of the car, taking his helmet off. Congratulations, you won TA2 East, you won TA2 West, and you just clinched the TA2 West Championship. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just such an honor. You know, 74 Ranch being here from Texas, I'm sure that everybody saw the race that was going on out there. Gar and I had a plan. Our plan was to get through turn 1 clean together, and once we did, just maintain our cars. I'm not sure what happened to my buddy and my teammate. Something just like blew up out there. But I'm just so happy that I could bring home the win for this Texas team. I'm going to be celebrating with Pro Vida Tequila tonight. Championship West Coast. I just couldn't be happier. My grandfather's 94th birthday here tomorrow. It's just the best ever.
Great weekend for Shane Lewis, guys. Thank you, Shane. Go celebrate.
Shane Lewis, the winner of the TA2 run here at Circuit of the Americas, ahead of Cameron Lawrence. Now, Adam Andretti disqualified post-race, so Cameron Lawrence moves to 2nd. Chris Cook gets on the podium.
A great run for Chris Cook, getting on the podium with Adam Andretti's disqualification.
Rafa Matos ends up in the top 10 in 9th spot ahead of the Napoleons. Roberto Sabato, Jacques Lazier. There's the rest of your running order. Guy Robinson, our new champion. 2 championships in 3 seasons. Led most of the race. Car failed late in the going, but he still ends up as your TA2 champion.
Cameron Lawrence just stepping out of his machine. You wowed the crowd again, charging up through the field. Walk us through that.
Yeah, that was just a crazy race. I mean, that was kind of a battle of attrition there. Starting 29th and just started slowly, well, as quickly as I could, move our way forwards. And right on the first lap, I mean, 4 or 5 cars, a couple guys spun at the end of the back straight. So it was really just kind of right place, right time, staying out of all the craziness, just putting in our laps, trying to make it through cleanly. We did get tagged even on the first lap and spun around and still came back to finish 3rd. So all in all, tough weekend. These guys definitely earned it. It's pretty hot, so I'm going to go relax and celebrate now.
Late in the year in Central Texas, but certainly high temperatures and humidity, not a foreign concept here at this time of the year at Circuit of the Americas. Guy Robinson, your champion. His teammate Shane Lewis will be 2nd in the title fight. Tony Buffamante will not have an opportunity to race for the championship next week at Daytona in the season finale. We congratulate George Robinson, Guy Robinson, his son, the 74 Ranch Resort team. They earned their 2nd TA2 title in 3 seasons. What a year it's been for Guy Robinson. Our final telecast of 2017, Michael McDowell, a great year for Trans Am.
Been very exciting. TA2, my favorite category. These guys battle hard. It's fierce competition, lots of contact, and it makes for a great show.
Hope you've enjoyed our coverage all season long of Trans Am America's Road Racing Series, presented by Pirelli. We congratulate our winner, Shane Lewis. For Ashley Van Dyke, Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for watching Trans Am on CBS Sports Network.